Army units eliminate dozens of terrorists in Quneitra, Aleppo and Daraa, destroying their weapons and ammunition. Bogdanov stresses that Russia is ready to host a third round of talks between the Syrian government and the opposition. The American Bloomberg newspaper publishes a report about new meetings between Israeli and Saudi representatives in Washington. Good afternoon. Syrian fighter jets launched airstrikes against terrorist dens and gatherings in Zamalka, Jisrin, Mizraba and Jobar in the eastern Ghouta in Damascus countryside. In Al-Hasaka, army fighter jets destroyed ISIL dens and gatherings in the southern Al-Hasaka countryside. Meanwhile, units of the Syrian Arab Army killed and wounded a number of al-Nusra terrorists in the areas of the eastern Kirit, Kahil and al-Musayfira in Daraa's eastern countryside. In Aleppo, units of the Syrian Arab Army eliminated terrorist dens in the areas of Bani Zayd, Salahuddin and Qadi Askar. In Quneitra countryside, the army attacked and eliminated all members of terrorist group in Mashara town. Russian President's special envoy to the Middle East and North Africa, Deputy Foreign Minister Mikhail Bogdanov, announced that his country is ready to host a third round of consultative talks between the Syrian government and the opposition. Bogdanov stressed that the whole initiative should be led up by the Syrians themselves, hoping that all Syrian parties would reach an agreement, especially that they are facing a common enemy. He pointed out that the threat of terrorism can transcend Iraq and Syria and affect the whole world. The Turkish Cumhuriyet said in a report published today that the terrorists who are committing massacres against the Syrian people were transported with their weapons and ammunition from the city of Al-Rayhaniya in Iskenderun district into Syria using Turkish vehicles under the supervision of the Turkish secret intelligence officer. The American Bloomberg newspaper has published a report today saying that since the beginning of 2014, representatives from Israel and Saudi Arabia have had 5 secret meetings to discuss what they consider to be a common enemy, namely Iran. The paper pointed out that the two sides came out of the closet by revealing this covert diplomacy at the Council on Foreign Relations in Washington. During the meeting, a speech was delivered by Anwar Majed Ashqi, a retired Saudi general and advisor to Prince Bandar bin Sultan, the former Saudi ambassador to the U.S., followed by another speech by Dor Gold, a former Israeli ambassador to the UN. The paper stressed that the message of Israel and Saudi Arabia was identical, namely Iran is trying to take over the Middle East and it must be stopped. The military spokesman of the Yemeni army announced that 5 Saudi warplanes were shot down by Yemeni air defenses since the beginning of the aggression, adding that there are Saudi soldiers who were taken prisoners during the border clashes. Meanwhile, the Yemeni army, supported by People's Defense Committees, made considerable progress near El Shibak military base inside the Saudi territories, advancing towards Jallah military base, thus destroying a number of vehicles. The Yemeni army also shelled the towns of Jazan and Zahran, causing panic among Saudi soldiers who fled their positions. It is worth pointing out that 43 people were killed and dozens injured during airstrikes on Zammar, Saada and Hadida. Syrian painter Ali Uthman chose colors and light to register the daily experience of ordinary people during the current crisis, along with the steadfastness of our soldiers in their heroic fight against terrorism.
In his paintings, artist Uthman describes the bravery and dedication of the Syrian soldiers at the battlefield and their sacrifices to defend the country and maintain its territorial integrity.
I
wanted to draw images of the martyrs using colors which symbolize the theme of sacrifice. The army is still fighting heroically offering sacrifices. No one can match the mythical selflessness of the martyrs who sacrificed their own life to save the country.
Painter Ali Osman grew up in Kfr Sousa neighborhood in Damascus and was heavily influenced by his environment, especially the Damascene flowers, reflecting in his works his deep attachment to his homeland. His subjects were inspired by landscapes he drew during visits to several Syrian cities, including Latakia, Tartus, and Banyas.
Now to the latest business and market news, but after a short break. Oil prices fell nearly 3% at the end of yesterday's trading, with a falling dollar and continued fears of a global crude oil oversupply ahead of the OPEC meeting. At the end of the meeting, the Brent crude futures for July dropped in delivery at 2.77% to reach $62.3 per barrel. U.S. crude futures also fell 2.75% to reach $58 a barrel. Index fell in early trading in Tokyo securities today. According to Reuters, Nikkei fell 0.44% to reach 20,398.76 points, while the broader topics dropped 0.56% to reach 1,664.45 points. Ladies and gentlemen, with this we conclude our news. Thank you for watching.